individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She Squatchers. I am Jen Cruz, your host, and I've got my fellow teammate Tammy Trico.
Hi, everybody.
We do not have our Jenna tonight, but we're sending her lots of love and lots of hugs. We love you, Jenna.
Love you.
She's feeling under the weather, and she just absolutely could not make it. And she was very, very sad because she really wanted to see the guest that we have tonight, which I'm excited to introduce you all to. His name is Ed Brown. Welcome, Ed.
Hey, guys. How you doing? How you
Good.
doing? Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yes. We're very excited that you wanted to join us tonight.
Yeah, as you noticed, I'm probably a little too old to be dancing and stuff, but I still got a little stuff in my neck. I think I got some rhythm, so we got it going.
Hey, that's great. That's great. Well, dance. There'll be an opportunity at the end of the show to dance with us again.
Wonderful.
So we want our listeners to know a little bit about you, your background and how you got into things like Bigfoot. And I see that you're into more paranormal things now as well.
Yeah, I've been into this stuff for so long. I can't remember. The Bigfoot thing started actually when I was a little kid. I remember reading a book. We were actually having a book fair or a reading contest at school. And it was like a reading marathon is what they called it. And you started reading, and the first person, when you stopped reading, you got kicked out. And whoever went the longest won the marathon, which I think was a great idea. Didn't care much for it at the time, but I love it now. But I read a book during that time about the Patterson-Gimlin film, a little story about that. And I remember thinking, wow, how fascinating is that? Monsters are real. And during that, I went back and found as many books as I could on it because I was so interested in that one story. And then, you grow up and you meet Bob and you get to meet, and it's like, wow, are you kidding me? It's like mind blowing. It's such a wonderful man, But then during all that time, it's pretty much anything really. It's not just Bigfoot. It's not just paranormal. It's not ufology. It's conspiracy theories. It's anything that's a mystery. I want to try to wrap my head around it. I want to understand it, and I want to try to figure it out. And I'm pretty much for everything right now, so I haven't gotten it yet. But we keep trying.
Keep trying.
That's right. Never give up.
Never surrender.
That's right.
No singing.
That's from a movie. It's a quote.
Yeah. That was the name of the movie. Was Never Surrender.
Was it?
Yeah, it had Julia Roberts' brother, I think, was in it, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's telling my age, though. That's because it's an old movie.
Well, you're not that old, are you?
Well, probably.
I want to say. I don't want to say either. I'm like 29. I don't know how my daughter. I don't know how my daughter got older than me, but she did.
Well, let me put it this way. I got so old that I quit celebrating birthdays that I actually just celebrated the 30th anniversary of my 26th birthday is what I did. So.
Oh, there you go. There you go. See,
so I don't have
not that old.
I just celebrate anniversaries of birthdays.
I did that for a long time. I celebrated anniversaries of my 29th birthday for quite some time. And then I finally just said, screw it.
Finally, I'm 21.
I don't mind getting older. I just don't want to look older.
Right?
Yeah, I don't even care what I look like. It's that older. I feel old, as man, it's life will catch up with you. I'm telling you, it'll catch up to you.
See, I feel like I look better than I did 7 years ago.
I think you both look great.
Thank you.
Neither one of you look a day over 27.
Well, I love that.
I'll take that.
I'll take it every day.
Maybe 26. Maybe 26. I should have said 26.
There you go. There you go.
I'll take 27. Heck, I'll take 33. I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
Yes.
Jenna too. Jenna, you're watching this. Look, I know you're not feeling well, but if I ever come back, you better be here. We're not having this sneaking out on me stuff. I kind of got a little complex going now.
Well, you should tell her what you wanted to tell her.
Yeah, well, I love you guys to death. I really do. And Jen and Jenna, I met both of you guys before. Tammy, I haven't met you yet, unfortunately, but someday maybe. But you guys are awesome. I love what you guys are doing. I really do. And Jenna, I hope you feel better. I hope you get well. And if you need anything, you know where I am. You can get a hold of me.
And you watched the song, you listened to the song?
Oh, yeah. See, yeah. Well, I did kind of talk to her about it because and I'll tell you again, Jenna, on here, absolutely amazing. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, here we come. We'll get another Bigfooter think they can sing. And I'm like, wait, she can.
Yes, she can. Jenna
She was
sings
really
very
good.
well.
And Jenna, you did great.
Is it a copyright infringement if we sing our own song?
Well, I don't know. We'd have to probably talk to the network before. But
It is not.
It is our song.
Then
Right,
you
so
own the
why
rights,
didn't
so
we
there's
sing
no
that?
copyright
Recorded it.
infringement. Play
Yeah,
it.
and we
Play it.
own the copyright ourselves.
That's right.
So
Play it.
Well, we're not going to do it tonight. But anybody who's listening, you can go to our YouTube channel, She Squatchers Official, and look up the Bigfoot Rock and Roar music video, and it is there. And it has real Bigfoot roars, or what we believe to be Bigfoot roars, on the front and the back end of the song. And the ones on the back are pretty intense. There's some oohs going on in there. If you listen to it on your earbuds, you'll hear it more clearly. And I was told by someone that only primates can make that sound. So that was pretty exciting. That there were several in that recording, and so we kind of did the song because, well, we were doing an expedition in Minnesota at this private property, and the man who owned the property happened to be a musician who has his own band. And so Jenna and him started singing out at the campfire one night together, and they were like, "This is so great." And so then they thought maybe they should sing songs out there, and maybe that would call the Bigfoot in. And then we just started writing a song. And then I was like, yeah, let's put the roars on there. And then we recorded the song, and it was just really a lot of fun. And now we've decided to write some more, and there are already 2 more written.
Good. Look,
we want to
it
do
was
different
good.
genres.
It was really good. It really was good. I mean, and I was like, wow, this is, I mean, she can sing. She's good. I mean, I'm no Simon Cowell or anything, but she's good.
Yeah.
She used to do musicals, right?
She did, and she used to sing in Nashville at some famous bars and stuff back in her younger days. And, she kind of gave up her dream of singing. And then when this all happened, I'm like, let's do it, Jenna. Why not? And so we did. But, I was supposed to sing backup vocals, and I chickened out at the end because I don't know if anybody knows this, but when you record a song, they do all the musical instruments separately and they're hooked up to them. And then at the end, the person who is singing has the headphones on, and they're the only person who can hear the music, and they're singing at the top of their lungs. And everyone is just in there being very quiet listening. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I can't sing. I can rap, but I can't sing. So I'm out.
Yeah. So that's how that happened. But in one of the new songs that we wrote, there is a short bit of rap. And guess who will be Janilla Ice?
Janilla Ice.
I'm going, I've never heard of him.
So that's our exciting news about that anyway. But
Jerry said, Bigfoot album, please.
We're working on it, and we want to do different song genres, so
We'll
that
have
we
to
hit
wait
them all.
until I'm there to record some of it so that I can be on it too.
Yeah.
I'll be
Gotta get the whole
backup
gang.
singer with you. It won't be dumb if we're both singing at the top of our lungs.
I actually, I feel like there's like a little teaser coming out. Why don't you two just sing a little teaser real quick for us?
Oh, no, we can't sing on here.
No, it's not allowed on the network.
Well, that's probably, good, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, back to you. Now that we've been talking. Oh, one other thing. We are on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
All of the Searching for Sasquatch documentaries are on Amazon Prime right now. And we are in number 3, number 4, number 8, number 9, number 10, and the She Squatchers documentary. So check us out. I think 8, 9, 10, and She Squatchers are my favorite.
Of course.
But 10 is the Minnesota Roars, and that features the roars that are in the song and some other ones that we didn't put in the song. So you should.
I haven't watched that one yet, but I've watched all the others. I'm almost caught up. I don't know. I'm not into watching myself on video. I don't know.
I feel
for everybody who's just listening, I'm very shocked.
I don't mind, but I'm just not like, oh my gosh, I'm on this movie. I got to go watch it right now. I'm just like, yep, I'm in that. I'll go watch it later.
Well, that's the weird thing. Like we film these documentaries. Like we traveled with Jason for like a month last summer. 2 weeks in June and 2 weeks in August. And so we were with him for like traveling for a month, and we went through so many states. Wisconsin, in Illinois. Well, where did we go?
Kentucky,
Indiana.
You were in Texas too, weren't you?
No, Jenna was in Texas.
Jenna was in there. Okay.
Yeah, her mom has a place down there, so she likes to go to Texas. I'm gonna go there for a while too. So we were in Indiana, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's where we were last summer.
And we're traveling with him again this summer.
Yep. We've got plans for the next big expedition where for 2 or 3 more documentaries. We try to fit in as much as we can in this spot, and then we move to the next spot. And yeah, it's so much fun. But we don't get to see any of it until he puts it out to the world. So he's just like, yeah, it's great. And we're like, okay.
It's funny you say that, because I've got 2 documentaries that are in the one we finished. We're working on the editing. I'm not, but an editor is working on that. In fact, I just talked to him today, and he sent me a couple clips. I unfortunately can't share, but yeah, it should be that's going to be kind of a crazy one. And then we just finished filming in Florida just a few days ago for another one. And he said that he goes, I think we're going to have to go back in September. And I'm like, yeah, because this one was nuts. The stuff that happened was insane. But
awesome.
Yeah. That is really cool. There was one thing, I have a reason why I think we should see them before he puts them out to the world, because when we did the Michigan expedition, which was Searching for Sasquatch 3 and 4, we didn't see those until they came out to the world. And there was one part where we had found the X the day that we had to leave, because we were speaking at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference. So we had to get on a plane to get there. So we left like 2 days earlier than everybody else left the expedition. But he had found this X in the forest that he wanted to hang his hammock from at that night. And so I'm like, that's probably not a good idea. See ya. And we left. And then so what happened was something approached him, and he's all zipped up in his hammock, it's all enclosed.
Sure.
And he growled at him and said something to him, which he didn't understand. Well, I heard it when I watched the show, and I was like, that's Ojibwe. That's Ojibwe language. I'm sure of it. I can't tell you what it says for sure, but I know that's what it is. And so when we were up this summer at my reservation in Minnesota, I asked him to play that audio for one of the people who teach Ojibwe language on the reservation. And she was like, oh, and it was Ojibwe. It was Ojibwe.
So what did it say?
It said "hoa," which is like a surprised use, like a surprise. And
Whoa.
then, yeah,
and
then it was "get out of here."
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was pretty neat. He sounded really disgruntled. But that would have been cool to put in that documentary and not like one later on, which is, I think it ended up in, which one did it end up in?
Hours.
10? No, I think it ended up in 10.
Well, I haven't seen 10, but I know that we were talking with the natives in our documentary.
Yeah, but he put it in 10.
Did he?
Yeah. So yeah, anyway.
Let's talk about Ed now.
Because we're going to have Ed come back now.
Don't mind me. You guys go ahead. I'm enjoying it.
So Ed, I want to hear like some of your really cool, I mean, have you had any really cool encounters or experiences that just blew your mind?
I've had 2 bluff charges. Those are really scary. And I mean, when it comes to Bigfoot stuff, those are really, really scary. One, I was at Jonathan and Sarah Brown's property in Washington. There's actually a pretty good video called the Grays Harbor video. That's where it was taken, and we were there. And I had Jonathan on my right, and Sarah was on my left. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And something like literally just came running through the woods at us. I mean, I had a flashlight, Sarah had a flashlight, Jonathan had his gun. And we all kind of turned and looked in that direction. And in my mind, I mean, I fully expected when I got my flashlight over there to see a moose running through there. That's what it sounded like. It was really, really loud. But nothing was there, and it's like, what the hell just happened? Like what, where did it go? Still have no idea what it was, but it came, and it sure seemed to be pretty close, probably just out in that, second layer of trees, but that was pretty scary. And then I had the same thing happen to me a couple of, probably 5 or 6 years later, I guess, in Oregon. Dan Lindholm, my brother from another mother, and we were in Oregon, and there was a guy filming us doing what we do, and I had gone into this area where we had something on FLIR, but we didn't know. I couldn't tell what it was because of either behind the trees or up in the trees. I couldn't really tell. So I had him watching that on FLIR as I went that way. My thought is if I could make it run away, we could at least get it on film, it running, And I get over there, and the funny thing was, this guy's telling me, go to your left, now, okay, now go to your right. He's directing me to get to it. And I get into this open area. It's like about 50-foot in diameter circle in the middle of the trees, with nothing was growing there. And a bird kept whistling at me. And I'm going, what in the world is going on? And the only thing I had was a walkie-talkie. I had nothing. I had no gun, no knife, no flashlight, no nothing with me whatsoever. And it happened to me again. Something came running at me again from the left, running straight at me. And all you can do is literally just turn around and get ready to fight. And, in my mind, I'm going, well, this is how it ends, And when I did finally get back and I looked at the video, it was funny because this guy is not a Bigfooter. Okay, keep that in mind. So I guess I am making fun of him a little bit, but when I watched the film, I don't know how he was telling me where to go because he had gotten scared and went in his truck. All I could see was the heater vent in his truck is all I could see for like 30 minutes of video. And I'm going, dude, why were you telling me to go left and right if you weren't even out there? Come on. So, but oddly enough, he directed me right into that spot where that happened, which was pretty cool. And that was scary, but cool.
Now, you said the Gray Harbor's video footage. Mm-hmm. Are you talking about that FLIR footage?
Yes.
Okay, wait, I gotta say that your FLIR footage looks identical to my FLIR footage, and they both came out at around the same time. Right. And I saw it, I'm like, hey, that looks like ours. And
it's not mine.
They let you capture the footage the same time that they let us capture the footage. And it was so weird because before that, there's never been any footage like that.
Right. No, it's great footage. Right. And it's not my footage. It was Jonathan and Sarah Brown. And I should express, and I didn't say this, there's no relation, just coincidence that we're all brown, Browns. But
interesting.
Yeah. And so yeah, but it was so it wasn't my video, but I did go there because of that video. And what great hosts. I mean, I spent the night. They were really nice people. Super, super nice people. Love them to death. And I haven't talked to them in a while, and I miss them. They're great people. But I haven't seen yours yet. What was
it looks, I mean, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, is that the same footage? But then you see, us walking across in front of it in some of it, and me panning around everywhere because I'm like, is this really what I'm seeing? So I'm panning around, trying to get the trees and stuff back to it, still there, and we got 13 minutes of footage. Wow. We only posted like 6.5 or 7 minutes or something like that, but we had 13 minutes of footage.
That's because I look awful on that footage, so we had to.
Well, how could I not have seen it? Maybe I have seen it and just don't realize it. Maybe I don't know how I could not have seen that.
It was crazy that it came out at the same time, and I was like, that is amazing. It goes from nobody having footage like this to 2 people capturing it at the same time, just about. I mean, I don't know if it's like the same day or anything.
Where was that location where that one was at?
Grays Harbor, Washington.
Washington. Okay, so we were in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Tennessee?
On top of a mountain.
On top of a mountain. I don't even know the name of the mountain. And
probably Eastern Tennessee then.
Because we were with somebody else. And so they had, the event had taken people out on a day hike, and I had bronchitis. So we figured me walking on top of a mountain during hiking was probably not good because I could barely breathe.
Right.
So Jenna and Tammy went during the day, and I said, send me the coordinates, because the guy that was Matthew Delph that we were supposed to go out there with. And and I kept saying, I need coordinates, and so I can look at it and remote view it. And he just wasn't grasping that concept because it was our first time meeting him, right. I think. And so he didn't ever send me the coordinates. And so when Jenna and Tammy went, I said, send me the coordinates when you get there. So they did. So I'm looking at it while they're there. And I found all these spots where I was seeing Bigfoot on the remote view. So when they came back down and we went out for dinner, and I showed them the spots, and they could see that too. And so that's how we confirm that is, right. I put the GPS pin down next to it, and they look, and if they're seeing the same thing there, then that's great. So we decided we'd go back up there. Well, we get up to the top of this mountain, and it's so dark you can't see anything, nothing. Yep. And I was still in the car, and I pulled out my phone, and I'm like, do I still have signal? And I pulled it. I did. And I'm like, is there any Bigfoots here right now? Right now. Show me right now. And there was one. And I used the little measuring tool. I'm like, 30 feet from the car, that way.
Nice.
And Tammy grabbed the FLIR, which was Jenna's. And
yeah.
And so neither Tammy or I knew how to work all the buttons in the dark like that, because you can't see what the buttons say.
Sure.
And so she could turn it on, but you should tell that part of the story.
Well, okay. Well, I was trying to hit record, and while I'm looking at it through it, it was right there, and it looked like he was leaning up against a tree. He had his arm lifted up, and all this hair is hanging down. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to record this. And so I'm trying to hit record, and I'm going through the buttons, and I'm just like, I'm changing the heat settings on it. The hot black, hot white color, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, Jenna, how do I record? How do I record? And they were still getting out. And I'm like, guys, I'm looking at it. How do I record? I can't find the button. So Jenna comes over and she pushes record. And yeah, I mean, he was like working with his hands or something. It was on black hot. So things that were warm were black, but sure. Hair was white. And here was this white, completely white being 30 feet away. And he had a cone head, and he was working with something, looked like he was like skinning an animal. Whatever he had in his hands was warm. And it looked to me at first like he was sitting there with his back against a tree, but we had Matthew go back during the daytime, and that was like a shelf or a ledge. And it is actually like he was using it as a table to skin that animal or whatever. So yeah, we got lots of footage, 13 minutes, and nice. He didn't try to run away, but it never even entered our mind to get closer. It was just like we were happy with where we were. He was happy with where we were. We were not quiet at all. And he didn't run away, and we didn't try to get any closer.
I'm actually known as the guy who will run into anything. It doesn't matter. If there's something, I'll head in. And I will too. But
I didn't even think to do it. It never even entered my mind, any of our minds, to get any closer.
We actually talked about that later. We're like, did you even think about going over there? And none of us did. Like, we're like, why didn't we do it? But it didn't even occur to us that maybe we should go closer. 30 feet was close enough.
Psychologically, I mean, that's a really good point, because when I had my sighting in Kentucky, at least I believe it was a sighting anyway. There's this thing walking down a hill in snow that was over my knees, and I was crawling through, and it was having no problems whatsoever. And when I saw it on my binoculars, my thought process wasn't grab this great camera that I had around my neck and just zoom in and take a picture, because it was a really good camera. And if I had taken a picture, I could have zoomed in and gotten all kinds of detail, I have no doubt. But my mind was, what am I looking at? Trying to understand, trying to rationalize what I was seeing. So, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, why didn't I even think to take a picture? Why did that not even cross my mind? So I hear that from a lot of people. So psychologically, there's something to that, which is interesting. Yeah. I was ready. I was prepared. I just didn't do it, and right. I don't know why.
Sherry has a question. She says, could you hide up in the tree line to watch for Bigfoot, like lying on a big branch for hours? Not that it's comfortable, but is that possible?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to give anybody credit. Russ and I were talking one time about just something very similar to that. Russ Acord and I were talking about that. And he said, and it's a really good point. He said, Ed, if you're at home and you're in bed and somebody comes in your house, you're going to know it, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he goes, now you know your house better than they do, right? I'm like, well, sure. So the point is, if you're in the woods, you are in his house. He Absolutely. Knows you're there. You can hide all you want, and it's a great question. Don't get me wrong. And I'm sure you could for anything coming back from wherever they're going. But if you're in their house, they're going to know it, and it is their house, so they're going to know it better than you are. They're going to know all the hiding places. They're going to know how to watch you as opposed to you watching them. They're going to know. So that was good advice from him. But yeah. So is it possible? Sure. It'd take a long time, I think. But yeah.
Is it effective? Meh.
Well, I guess when someone does it, maybe we'll find out, and hopefully somebody tries it. I've got ideas that I've never tried too. So maybe I'll put that on my bucket list.
For sure. That would be awesome.
What I do like about it means less hiking. You can lay there and just go to sleep, take a nap, whatever. I'm good with that.
Well, yeah, we put Jason up in a deer stand, for hours. Made him stay up there at night waiting for Bigfoot.
Sure.
Well, we sat at the fire.
Yeah, while we sat at the fire. And he was cold and we were warm.
Shame.
It was his choice. He agreed to it.
Yeah.
He did. Well, Todd went up there too.
Yeah, he was in a different one.
One. Yeah. It was such a huge property, and they had so many deer stands to choose from. So they both went up into tree stands for the evening while we were at the fire.
I want the one with a TV and a lazy boy.
Okay. I don't think there was one of those out there, but I was sitting on a pretty nice leather couch by the fire.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
So, yeah, I love going out there. That's like one of my favorite places to go and stay, and just walking the trails at night even is scary.
Sure. And it is. It is scary, Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway. But yeah, we're like coming up to our break time already. So let's go to our commercial break and stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. All right, so we should be clear.
And it's still recording.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That seemed like a good spot to go to break.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so now we really got to get more out of Ed in the last half because we've been chatting away.
I know.
We're gonna have to have you back.
Our songs, our footage, our freaking documentaries.
But you know what? But it's all really good stuff. I mean, it really is. And you got to send me that video. I want to see it. I want to see if
I'm looking for it right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
It's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Under Tennessee night footage.
Actually, you want to look at the stabilized footage.
Yeah.
So let me find it. I will find it.
Yeah, because we had a guy that our footage was wrong. We're just learning how to start editing. now.
Jenna is learning. I'm not.
So a guy offered to stabilize it for us, and he used different heat signatures to help see it more clearly.
Yeah.
Sure. Nice. Yeah, I can't. I would be surprised if I haven't seen it, because I think I've seen pretty much. I've got things that no one else has seen. Just been privy to things that, like, I actually have a video, and I'm not allowed to send it out. If you were standing next to me, I could show you, but I can't. I promised I wouldn't, but actually have a Bigfoot going over, and he's raking leaves in front of the camera, and you can.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's right up on the camera, and you can see his arm with all the hair coming down. I mean, it's a really compelling.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Jen, you better watch the chat.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Thanks for telling me. I'll have to probably find it after the show and send it to you, Ed.
That's fine. Yeah. There's no rush.
I totally got lost in all that. Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at shesquatchers.com, and there you'll find all of our links to everywhere else. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and please come and like and follow us there. But for sure, come and subscribe to our YouTube channel at She Squatchers Official. And we're back with Ed Brown. Yay!
And we're going to talk about Ed now.
We're going to talk about Ed now. Ed,
why? This is so much fun.
Well, you're gonna have to come back on the show again, because we totally need more Ed time.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he needs to come back and see Jenna.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, Ed, you were going to tell us something amazing.
Was I?
You were. Do you have
remind me what we were talking about? You mean if you're referring to like this last outing I just had in Florida, there we had some. It was more of a paranormal outing as opposed to Bigfoot, and I'm gonna go on record here saying this because I got to be very clear. I want to make sure people know that my thoughts. I don't claim my thoughts and opinions as fact. Okay, I don't, and I'm open-minded, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions, just like I am. However, I don't believe that Bigfoot is paranormal, right? I believe that there's two different things going on. Personally, I think Bigfoot is flesh and blood, and the paranormal is something totally different. And I think that if something paranormal is happening, why would a Bigfoot not be confused and curious of that as well and come over and check it out as well? So when a Bigfoot comes in and checks out something, a light in the woods or whatever, then that's why you have sightings of both at the same time. And people think, I mean, like if you go hunting bear and you see a deer, does that mean that bears can transform into deer? No, it just means there's two different things there, So that being said, I think it's important to understand that I don't think Bigfoot is paranormal. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm right. That's just my opinion. That being said, what we were doing in Florida was more on the lines of paranormal. And there were a couple really, really weird things happen. We had a new device that's in, we were the first team to ever use this device, right? I can't give a whole lot of the way it works away, but I will tell you it is, because I actually talked to the guy before the interview just to see what I was allowed to say and what I can't. And because it isn't out yet, it's still being tested, I can't. But I will tell you that this device has nowhere to pull words from, all right? This device cannot connect to the internet. There's nowhere to get words, okay, other than the way it works, right? And I hope that makes sense. That's the best sense I can make of it. But it was so precise. I mean, it actually said, and just a random thing, it just said, house guests brought cigars. Now, nobody there knew it, but I actually, the homeowner and I've been there so many times. He and I are like just good friends, and it's a tradition that every time I go there, I stop and pick up a couple of cigars, and we go over there and we sit on the deck and catch up smoking a cigar. And it's a tradition. We do it every time. So nobody knew it except the homeowner and myself. That was it. So this device says that. It's like, wait a minute now. How did it know that? And when we were telling that to everybody, everybody's like, wow, no way. That's crazy. Like, yeah. So I did stop specifically to get cigars for the homeowner and I to go out and sit on the deck and catch up, which we do every time.
I love that.
They have a little building on their property that they call the Sugar Shack, right? And it is the most active place on the property. So when I go there, that's generally where I sleep. And the question came up, who is sleeping in the Sugar Shack tonight? And instantly it said, Ed is, again, a very direct answer to the question, So that was a lot of fun getting to use this new device for the first time ever. And the fact that it was so precise, the answers, I don't know what the actual percentage was, but it was, I'm guessing 90% accurate, which is insane, and very direct answers, which was pretty cool.
So this is a brand new device.
Yes, it's not even out yet. Yeah, we were the guy who is developing it, the guy who designed it and is making it, knew one of the guys who came to Florida and let him bring it to test. So it was the very first time that device had ever been used in an investigation. And that's just a couple examples. There were so many. We knew that we asked who we were talking to, and I can't give the name, but it did mention a name of someone that I knew from the property who has passed away. And we were talking to him, that he was there. And I asked the question, I said, so I'm trying to figure out how I can say this without giving away his name and stuff. I said, so you and I had this little fun thing that we used to do where we would, tease each other. I said, what is it we had in common? And it said snack, which is kind of funny because he and I would we both really loved those moon pies, those marshmallow moon pie things. So every time I would get one, I would take a bite and send him a picture of me taking a bite of one. And then he would call me a bad name and he'd go get one and send me a picture back, So we went back and forth. So the fact that it said snack, while I was hoping for moon pie, it did say snack, which I thought was pretty cool. There was just so many things that device. I've already told him before it comes out, I want one. So yeah, I'm putting my name in the hat.
I want one.
Yeah. I'll let you guys know.
He's already got 3 pre-orders. Jenna will want one. There's 4.
I'm sure. Yeah. So it's going to be, so when that thing comes out, and I don't know when it'll be, but it's going to be, I'm sure, just a matter of tweaking some few things and just putting the program into a device and see what else they want it to do. But it was the fact that there was nowhere for the words to come from except for one place, and it was that accurate, was absolutely mind blowing. And
that's amazing.
I did see it was funny because it was like we were there for like a week, and the first day and the last day were the 2 really active days. It was active in the middle, but it was like extremely active the first day and really active the last day. The first day we were there, we were looking at their surveillance camera, and near the Sugar Shack, they have a camera there, and it shows the driveway. The driveway's really long, and something, it almost looked like either a snake or maybe a baby alligator or something like that, very low to the ground, very small profile, but very long, was like going across the driveway. And as soon as it crossed the driveway, it just turned into smoke and disappeared. Just evaporated. It was like, what in the world was that? And I asked them, I said, go back. I want to see that again, rewind. And they said, well, it's not recording. And I'm like, guys, you got to record everything,
Yep.
And then the last night we were there, and I'm still a little, people are going to laugh at me for this, I'm sure, but I saw it. I can't say I didn't, but the last night we were there, last day we were there, it was nighttime actually, but everybody was outside. I was in the house. I went in the house to get something, and I was coming back through the house, and the homeowner, she asked me, she goes, Ed, will you look at this? And I said, sure. she hands me the tablet, and it's the same camera as before, right? And there were these little orbs flying around. And then right in the middle of the screen, a ball of light started about the size of a baseball, and it grew into like this really big light. And then this is the only way I can describe it. So I know, and I haven't, and this was just a few days ago, so I'm still wrapping my head around it, but it grew into this really big light, and then it morphed into a body. You know, I could see the head, the shoulder, the arms, the leg, everything, you know. And then as soon as it did, it morphed back into the big light, and then down into the little light disappeared. I'm going, and I won't use the, you know, the same language as I used then, but I was like, what in the did I just see? And I'm like, rewind this, go back. She goes, we're not filming. I'm like, no, you know, we had this conversation, love them to death. But yeah, that was pretty wild. So,
What color was the light?
it was white. It was just a white light. There was, okay. I know, I actually, everybody there asked me that, because there was actually a guy in the Sugar Shack at the time about to do a TikTok live. I don't know, people might know him, Epic Paranormal. You know, he's got like, I don't know, 760,000 followers on TikTok. So I'm like, dude, you got to mention me just once, you know. But
he have one more follower now.
That's right. Yeah. No, he's pretty cool. He's a really good guy. A really good guy. But I get on the radio and I'm like, I said, I jokingly said, I sounded like an idiot because I said, Eric, there's a ghost outside right now, you know, because I'm like, I don't even know how to rationalize what I just saw, you know. So we all go down there, and of course, you know, the equipment's going off, you know, we're getting hits, but we didn't see anything there. But we saw lights. There's so much stuff happening there. It's insane. So yeah.
Amazing.
So was that in Tennessee?
That was in Florida.
Florida. Okay.
Yes.
We need to go to Florida.
Yes, we do.
Well, this property actually started off with Bigfoot investigations. There's everything. There's Bigfoot there. There's paranormal. There's some ufology. You know, there's it's everything. It's a crazy property, and I compare it to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on here or not, but I compare it to that place in Utah. You know, and
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So I compare it to that, and you know, I've never been on the ranch yet, obviously, but you know, I have been there, but I've been at the gates and I've been on top looking over the mesas at it and stuff. So that's a really cool place too. But yeah, this place it's absolutely insane. A lot of stuff.
That sounds exciting. So what did you experience anything when you were out that Skinwalker Ranch at the gates?
We did actually, kind of an interesting. So while we were there, I had my dogs, and I was walking the dogs, and Claudia was taking pictures, you know, and she said, "Hey, look at this really pretty bird." I'm a guy, I'm walking dogs. I didn't look over. I just said, "Oh yeah, those are nice." You know, and I kept walking my dogs, you know. And she mentioned that they looked like they were like from like, you know, exotic birds, basically, you know, that they didn't really fit in there, you know. Didn't really think too much about it. We're driving home and you know, back to California, and the whole trip, it was like every few minutes we would hear this bird in the van. I'm like, where is that coming from? You know, we even turned the radio down, turned everything off, and like listen, and just bird sound, but there was not a bird in there. So I don't know. It's like I guess it wanted me to see it, I guess, but it jumped in the van. I saw something, I don't know, but it was kind of weird. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the only thing. We did see a bunch of bones over one of the mesas, but we did find out why that is the way it is. They whoever owns that property, when cows die on their property, they put them in the back of a truck, and they go over and they just dump the truck and they dump the body there, you know. And that's basically a burial ground for sick cows, I guess, you know. So, but there were lots of bodies down there, bones spread out. Coyotes would come and get the bones and run off with them. You know, it was a pretty macabre scene, you know, but it was, but we did figure out why that was like that. But yeah.
Very cool. And you've been to Area 51?
I have. Yep. Not on Area 51, but I have been to the gate. Yeah, that was, nothing happened there. Nothing weird or unusual. Didn't see anything other than there was the little, what was it? Black SUVs. I think everybody says white, but I think the ones we saw were black. And one of them actually did follow us down off the road, which was it's like 7 miles down this road to get back on the main road. And yeah, and I ate at the Little Alien, which was pretty cool. We had lunch there. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
I'd love to go there.
Yeah, the food sucks, but it was like I can say I ate there.
And I lived.
And I lived. That's right. I'm still alive. No, it wasn't that bad. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry, Little Alien. I promise you, I'm just kidding. So.
All right. Well, I think it's just a place that you have to go regardless.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to. Oh my God, I've been inside the Lizzie Borden house. Been inside that. Isn't that great? Isn't it cool? I mean, the feeling you get in there is really weird, isn't it? Amityville Horror House, Axe Murder House. I went to the Chris Watts house. I've been to that. Didn't go inside, but I've been there. I mean, there's really not anywhere I haven't been yet that people talk about, I guess. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, we did paranormal stuff before we got into Bigfoot. So we were all into that.
Sure.
I'm still into that.
Well,
Good.
We still do it, but Bigfoot stole my heart. Sure. And so that's my focus. But we have started, like, we were in Ohio for the Ohio documentary, and I brought my spirit box, and Jason, our filmmaker, had never used or seen one, I guess, in person. So he was excited to try it. So we just pulled over at a cool looking cemetery and showed him the spirit box and how it worked. And he was just floored. So then he wanted to make paranormal documentaries.
Good.
And we're in one of his documentaries using that spirit box.
Yeah, because he was so impressed with all the answers that we were getting. We're so on target. So he actually put it in one of his documentaries that he filmed later. So
Good.
Yeah. So
yeah, I love the paranormal. I love Bigfooting as well. And it's funny, actually. I had a heart attack 1.5 years ago, and I haven't really been anywhere hiking since then. You know what I mean? So this trip to Florida was the first time that I'd actually been up in, hitting the trails and really going at it. And man, I'll tell you what, even though I feel great, I'm like, yeah, I'm not in shape anymore. And I was like, I might just going to stick with the paranormal for a while. It's a lot easier in a chair.
That's true. Yeah. That is true. It is a lot easier sometimes, but you never know. I mean, some of the places that we've gone looking at the paranormal have been kind of.
Well, the paranormal is funny because I think people, for some reason, everybody wants to go like at night and do all this night stuff. And it's like, the ghosts don't sleep during the day and then wake up at night. That's not really what happens. I mean, they're there all the time. So you can go during the day and get just as much, if not more, because shadows are more prevalent in the, in the daytime because there's more shadow, more things to cast a shadow, I guess I'm trying to say. You still get the same voices. You still get the same everything. Everything's, but it's not as scary because you can see your surroundings, So if you want to go paranormal hunting, if you want to go ghost chasing or whatever, do it. Just do it during the day where it's not as dangerous, because in the night, at nighttime, in some of these places, you can get hurt, and that would be, you don't want that, so be careful.
And I usually fall down, Ed. I usually fall down. It's not an expedition until I fall down. And then Tammy laughs really loud.
I do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But there's less like background noise going on at night than there is during the day, cars and traffic and people and dogs and all that stuff. I think that's why, a lot of people go at night. But yes, like abandoned places where there's actually no people at anyway, why would you not go during the day?
Right. No, I agree. And actually falling down is how you find out if you're old or not, because if you fall down and all your friends laugh, then you're still young. If you fall down and everybody runs over to help you, then you're old.
They I didn't check to see if I was okay first. Tammy just laughs anyway.
You're young. You're fine.
Funny.
You're fine.
Because you fall in slow motion every time. Like, no. It's funny. So I'm going to laugh at you. I'll help you up, but I'm going to laugh at you first.
I stepped into a snowbank. We were walking through the snow and I was using the tripod for the camera as a walking stick because it was less to carry then, right? So I'm walking and I got, I don't know, just hung up in this deep snowbank and I went down.
That's funny.
And Tammy was laughing. All I hear is Jen fell down.
Again.
And we learned that we don't use tripods as walking sticks.
It was working.
Until it wasn't.
Oh,
there's always another line.
Yeah, I tell you.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Jerry says Bigfoot investigations or Bigfoot hunting, which is more accepted?
Bigfoot hunting is probably the correct terminology, I guess. You're because in Bigfoot hunting, you're actually hunting. You know, when you're out looking for Bigfoot, you're literally hunting, at least again, in my opinion, a living, breathing, flesh and blood animal. So you are hunting. You may not be going to kill it, but you are hunting it, you know, regardless. In the paranormal, you know, you're investigating things that can't be seen, you know, but so so there is a little different terminology, but in Bigfooting, it would be Bigfoot hunting, I would say.
There you go. Ed has spoken.
I love those questions. Those are great questions.
Sherry usually is the one that asks most of the questions in our show.
Yeah, good job, Sherry. More questions, please. Bring it on. Yeah, that's good stuff. So what is your favorite paranormal piece of equipment?
Wow. I absolutely hate a spirit box. I know you mentioned a minute ago, there's that static just gives me a headache. And it's like, man, I can't, you know, it's like I'm so lost in the static. So I hate a spirit box, but you know, I think you know, like the REM pods are interesting because they're not that easy to set off, you know. And if you can get something on the REM pod, that's impressive in the beginning, you know. So REM pod's probably my favorite, just because when it goes off, you know you're getting something, you know. As long as nobody's clicking walkie-talkies within 30 feet or whatever, you know. But you know, it's the REM pod is definitely a very interesting piece of equipment.
All right. And for Bigfooting, what is your favorite piece of equipment?
I'm don't laugh at me, but my ears, you know, you got to be aware, you know, listening, you know, and hearing and paying attention to that, because it's not just in Bigfooting is a little different, because you're not just listening for Bigfoot, you know, you're listening for bears, you're listening for anything else as well. And if something is walking, there's a sound, you know. So while binoculars, FLIR, all those things are great, and you know, I've used all of them. I think just your own senses is the most important thing, you know, and being prepared for whatever you may run into. You know, as you ladies know, you don't go into any area unless you have an exit plan. You know, if something blocks that exit, you better know where to go next, you know, because if you don't, you can get hurt. I think it's a really important thing to kind of point out, because safety is so important when people go out. Nobody takes the time to look into that area and see, like, what kind of snakes are there? What's the dangers? Or is there poison oak, poison ivy? What kind of plants are there? You know, you have to understand where you're going, you know. Take a little time and take a little bag of, you know, nuts and raisins and, you know, M&Ms, you know, for energy, you know, have that handy, you know, have that with you. Bring plenty of water, you know. These things, people just think, well, I'm going to go on just a little hike, I don't need all that stuff. And then something happens and they're out there for longer than they planned, and then they're like, man, I sure wish I had a bottle of water. You know, I mean, I think planning is so imperative, but it just doesn't happen enough. But to answer your question, your own senses, I think, is the best equipment to use when Bigfooting. I didn't mean to change the subject and go off on a rant, but
I loved the rant. The rant was perfect.
be
No, I
safe,
think-
people.
I think that from going scuba diving and seeing how the dive master and everybody, they plan the dive. This is the temperature. This is the current, and all this stuff. And this is where we're going to get in. This is where we're getting out. And be on the lookout for this animal, sharks or fish or whatever. Seeing that, I think it will be very helpful for us with our investigations because they plan out the entire thing. They go over it as a team before they go onto the dive. And I think that it would be good for us to also do all that. And everybody.
Sure. 100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah, but sometimes when we get to a spot for the very first time, that's when the stuff happens. Like when you're just first there. Like when we went to Randy's and took you there, and I'm getting my camera ready because the first time I went there, I didn't have my camera going, and I saw something for daytime out in the open, Bigfoot. For the time it took me to walk 2 electrical poles to get 2 away from it.
Sure.
And then it was gone. But I mean, there was no.
Yeah, but that's not that place is not just a hike and an investigation. That is an entire experience. We're there for a very long time. You can't plan every minute of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure. Hey, and Roger Patterson had his camera was in his saddlebag. He not only did he have to get it out and start it and run with it, that's being prepared. He knew where it was. Even though the horse reared up on him and everything else, he knew where that was. He got it out, got it set, got going. That's a great example of being prepared and getting the best evidence ever. So that's
Yes. And not watching it walk down the trail and going, hey, there's somebody. Oh wait, I think that was Bigfoot. Too late.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, if that had been me, I'd have been like, what am I looking at? And it's
I just
gone.
saw it was a daytime. I had 2 daytime sightings at this place, and this one time we were just airing up an air mattress. There was a hole in it, and one of our friends went up to go get some duct tape. We were standing there talking, and something was coming down the trail, and I just thought it was our friend. But then he didn't come out the other side when it went back behind my tent, and I'm like, wait a minute. So then I got my phone out and went around looking, but it was already gone.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And it's also at the same spot, but we were all just standing there. This was a different time, but I was standing by the tent talking to Michael, and he's an author that was writing a Bigfoot book. So he was observing us while we were doing our expedition. Anyway, I all of a sudden just felt like pulled to look into the trees towards where the river's on the other side of the trees. And so I looked, and all of a sudden I see this large, big, dark something standing there. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, and it like jumped back and down, and then the trees just started whipping back and forth. And Michael saw the trees whipping. He didn't get to see the thing jump that caused the whipping. But then everybody went into the woods, and I was trying to direct them to where it was. And, they didn't find anything back there, but I mean, those trees didn't start whipping by themselves.
Right.
We had an interesting thing happen last time I was in Florida, the last trip. Do we have a minute left? I'm not going to run over here, am I? But I'll make it short. And a really interesting story. But we were same place in Florida, and there's a neighboring property that I just call the decrepit house, is what I call it, because it's falling apart. And we had gone over there to film for some paranormal stuff while we were there that trip. And I was sitting in a windowsill, there's no glass. I was sitting in the window filming, and suddenly I just got this like crazy feeling like something was going to grab me and pull me out the window. And I don't ever get that, hair on the back of my neck was standing up. So I got up and moved, I got up against a wall, and a few minutes later we go outside, and from that spot about 10 feet away, we heard something stand up and run down a hill, and it was pretty interesting, but it came back around and came up the other side.
That music says we're at the end of the show. Ed, how can people find you?
Either Facebook or go to TikTok at EdBrown212. Definitely been working on that, trying to get that built up.
TikTok, EdBrown212. Check him out, everybody. Thanks for coming on the show, Ed. We have to have you back.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Are we dancing again?